Hey y'all, welcome back to the channel. This is Modified. I'm Big D, and this is my 2005 Suburban. I'm going to unmodify it this afternoon. Got a couple hours after work. Daylight savings time hit. I'm happy about it. I hope y'all are. I love this afternoon daylight we got. So it's a great bumper if I was going 4x4 up in the air and sticking it in the mud, but I am not looking forward to getting a 3/4 ton 4x4 out of the mud. That was high school. I'm past that. I got no use for it. It's a little off-roady. Trying to go street with this one. I got off-road with the other one. I go street vehicles that are 4x4s and off-road vehicles that are two-wheel drives. I do it backwards, but that's how you have fun, right? You know, Harry said to give you an extra large oil pan, cut the wind out from underneath you. So let's go take Harry's advice and drop it down to the ground. Let's get to yanking. Good enough. Let it down. You twist it, or you take it out and you put it in the plug. There you go. That's good. Perfect. Now you can give it just a crank. Back her up. I'm gonna go ahead and clean all the rust up on the frame. You know I can't stand that. The back came out really good. You take care of the front and all this beautiful disgustingness up in here. That way when you look in these fender wells you can really see nothing instead of seeing a whole bunch of rust. And the other side looks just the same. And I picked up this bumper for about 40 bucks. It's got a pretty good bang right here. I'm gonna bang that brake back out. A little body work. It's not perfect, but for $40, what do you want? But it'll hold paint. It's got a few scuffs here, a little Bondo. Kind of knock this back flat. It's chipped up really good. We got a lot of sanding to do. But this one right here, I have to bang that back out. It's going from back in the woods back onto the road, so let's get to banging. Alright, there's definitely a right and a wrong way to do this. This is the wrong way. I have a little ball peen hammer and a BFH. You can figure out what that stands for. But it's on a little handle, so it can't do too much damage. I'm going to take this bumper, try to get this big gash beat back out the right direction. So we're going to use the BFH to knock it back out, and then the little ball peen hammer to kind of just shape it back the rest of the way, and I'll use Bondo to create the rest of the contour. Let's see how bad I can mess this up. I'm not left-handed. Bumper's back on, well, it's just sitting there, but it's a whole lot straighter than it was when I started. It actually fits the contour of the front of the truck. Once I bolt it up, I'll be able to fill up any gaps and get it perfectly straight. So I think now it's time for sand and a little body work. Put some good old Bondo on it. And we can hit it with some gloss black paint and get it to match the front of the truck. I went and threw a couple bolts in the bumpers to hold it in place. I'm gonna go ahead and grind down. This is pretty good. Got it beat out to where it has somewhat of a shape like it used to have. This used to be real caved in. It flows really well now. We got the big crater out of here. This is just a temporary time being. Make it look good for the time it's got. I'm gonna do a custom kind of a street scene looking front bumper for it. Something that'll really look roadworthy instead of off-road worthy. And let's get the grinding. Give something a little aggressive that when you put the body filler on it, it sticks to. You rattles and vibrations, and a little bit down the road, it won't start coming off. I'm ready to clean her up. It's Bondo time. Pretty stuff, easy stuff to use. I've been using this stuff forever. Kind of just pour out what you want. Got a pretty decent area. And they talk about it's complicated to mix it in and everything else. And she had a dab about the size of a, I don't know, a tennis ball. And from working at the body shop when I was little or younger, pretty much just take right here, run your line. That should be enough activator to make it harden up. And when you mix it together, you want to kind of fold the air bubbles out of it instead of swirling. Got my fancy handy dandy Bondo spreader here. I'm just going to take this and mix it over itself until you see that hardener. This is kind of a gold color, and you add blue to it, so I guess it's going to turn a little green. Yellow and blue make green. And as you fold the hardener into it, you're just kind of rubbing the air bubbles out of it when you place it flat. Just kind of smearing the low spots first. And instead of putting it on and sanding it off and putting it on and sanding it off until you get to a half medium, I just like to put on one big thick coat first. Comes off your hands pretty easy, so don't worry about it if you get it on you. You pretty much just take that, level out what you're working with. It'll dry in about 15 minutes. Come back, give it a light sand, and you got your shape. Means this is a bumper, and I'm probably going to put an overlay over it. Not too worried about the body work. It's already starting to harden up. That's where that big dent was, right there. I'll put as much material as I can over it. So I got something to work with. You can see there's a high spot and there's a low spot. The high spot will show itself first. While it's still wet, move it around where you need it. Take off where you don't need it. Helps extra sanding later. I hit every spot where I hit it with the hammer, and it was a pretty decent little dent. Right here was another one. Wax on, wax off. Alright, it's all hardened up. Feels really good. It's already got a good shape to it. Just going to use my sanding block. I don't know what happened to my rubber one. I'm just getting everything kind of set up over here. I don't even really have a shop built yet. I'm just out in the yard doing this. But I can't wait. So I got some 220. You could go anywhere from between 80 and 180 is what they recommend to sand this. But I don't want to take all that off. I don't have much to take off. So I'm going to kind of use this block as a flat surface. And then go ahead and sand this out. See if I need to add any more or not. If you don't have a brake stool, get you a brake stool. You know, stool for changing brakes. Short low to the ground. They're great for stuff like this. When you gotta get lower, that's what you gotta do. But I got my Bondo spreaders here. So I'm not even actually using Bondo, I'm using Evercoat Body Shop. I think it sets up harder than the Bondo name brand. I used that for years. Let me mix this on the sticker side. Alright, y'all, got my last coat of body filler on. I'm gonna kind of just smooth that out, a low spot here, a little of the low spot here. It's pretty much got its shape. It's gonna serve its purpose until I do the front air dam. I'm gonna do a custom kind of down with some big fog lights in it, like a JDM style sort of. Just gonna kind of do my own thing with it, wrap it with some fiberglass. So this is just to drive around with a bumper that seems pretty much straight. All right, there we go. All I'm looking for here is better than it was. Had a big old dent, knocked out a huge one on the corner there. Had a couple of dings and dips. Just kind of want the general straightness of it. Doesn't have to be perfect because, like I said, I'm going to put a skin over this. I'm going to make my own kind of JDM kind of import looking drift style, whatever you want to call it, air dam on the front. Put some nice big amber colored fog lights in it. Maybe some big 8s, something that'll go with the large sizes of the vehicle. I have the stock Z71 valance for it. It's probably got some little 3-inch fog lights, and they'll do. But I really want those big 8-inch yellows for nighttime. I think it'll look really cool. So this is all scuffed. It's pretty much flat. I'm happy with where it's at because this is temporary. And I'm going to go ahead and scuff this rubber part. It's urethane with some 220. Pretty much just sand the dirt off of it. Hit this bottom part with 220 again. We'll hit it with a coat of primer. And I'll do my Rust-Oleum paint and primer in one in gloss black. And we'll send it just like that. It's always faster to use the drill motor. All right, to the table to sand it. guess the camera turned off, but this is the all-important tack coat. It's just kind of a light dusting before you really start laying paint. It's like the primer before the paint, so it gives something for the paint to stick to. So this sticks to your sanded surface, and your paint actually adheres to this. So we're going to let this tack up for about 15 minutes. Hit it with some gloss. Alright, with the scratch coat on and tacked and cured, go ahead and put a coat of gloss black. Ten minutes, hit it with another coat. Alright, that was coat number 2. Here comes coat number 3. It's pollen season. I got beautiful little greenish yellow flakes in it. It'll buff out. Flowed out pretty good. It's shinier than the paint that came on the truck. So, like I said, it's not my best work, but it'll do for the time being until I get a chance to actually put my lower valance on there, and I'm gonna build off of this. So it didn't have to be pretty in the first place. The only thing I'm really gonna reuse is the metal part. This urethane top piece, it's dinged up and dented, and I might even get a new one of those. So there it is. Paint and primer in one. Rust-Oleum gloss black Suburban front bumper. Went and hit up the front frame. It was all orange and rusty. Man, that fresh painted bumper makes the rest of the truck look old. Look at that.